What's up, y'all? It's Celeste, and I got a ton of new subscribers over the last couple of weeks, thanks to Ash Hardell, who had a little picture of me and linked me in the description of one of their recent videos. So thank you to Ash for that. Hello to all of you new subscribers, and if for some reason you are watching this and you don't already follow Ash or know who Ash is, definitely go check them out. I'll link them in the description. But they make all kinds of great, really high quality content, from personal stuff to humor videos, to really a lot of educational things, mostly about the LGBTQ plus spectrum, but other stuff beyond that. And they also do a ton of collaborations. So I've discovered a lot of my favorite YouTubers through Ash's channel. So again, definitely recommend them. Follow the link in the description and subscribe if you don't already to their channel. Today is Transgender Day of Visibility, and I've talked in the past about why I think visibility is important, so I'm not going to rehash all of that here, but I do think it's extremely important for trans people and cis people, and also sort of gender questioning people who don't really know which of those categories they might fall into, to have as wide a range of examples of trans people to kind of draw from, to have a frame of reference to understand the trans experience, which is not just one experience that we all have, to understand the diversity and the wide range of experiences that we have, what it means to be trans, what it feels like to be trans, different ways that we might or might not transition, and all of these kinds of things. I feel like the wider range you have to pull from, the more you'll understand, and the less it seems like this narrow thing that is totally unrelatable. But it doesn't just all come down to quantity. I think it's really important for people to be as visible as they are able to or feel comfortable being in their own lives, which for some people means not being visible at all, and that's totally fine. But I feel like for those of us who do want to be visible in our everyday lives, I think some of us don't give ourselves enough credit because we feel like the people that are out there in the mass media, or who have hundreds of thousands of YouTube followers, or have big Instagram following, or whatever, those are the people who really matter in terms of visibility. When I first started making YouTube videos, which was about a year and a half ago, I felt really inspired by the people that I had already watched on YouTube, who were helping me understand things, and helping me specifically understand things about top surgery and about different aspects of transition that I was learning about. I wanted to kind of be a part of that. I wanted to add to the conversation, or add to the community. Like I was talking about, this kind of broader frame of reference to kind of add to that by giving my own experiences. But at the same time, I kind of felt like, well, there are already all these other people who are doing this. There are already other non-binary people talking about top surgery, or talking about their gender, and things like that. So what am I really going to add to this that other people haven't added to it already? And over the last year and a half that I've been making videos, I have learned a couple of answers to those questions. One is that every person is unique. So my experience is not going to be the same as all these other people who have talked about their gender or their transition. There's a lot of overlap in some of these things, but nobody is going to have the same exact story that I have. Nobody is going to have the same experiences. Nobody is going to have the same journey, basically, that I'm having. So what I'm talking about might overlap a lot with what other people talk about, and that's fine. What I talk about might be something totally new that other people haven't talked about, and that thing that I say might be the thing that really helps somebody else out there who feels like they're the only one that feels like that. And by me talking about it, it might help them. It might even be something that isn't necessarily something that other people relate to, but it just kind of gives them an idea of something that there are people who feel that way. And so it just kind of opens everyone's minds a little bit. The other thing is that I think, especially for a lot of cis people, they don't necessarily go way out of their way to educate themselves on different things, different aspects of gender, like words or concepts or parts of transition, or I don't know, just different things like that, that they might have some vague idea of what those things are, but they don't They don't spend a lot of time looking into it. They don't take the initiative basically to look into it. It's just kind of like if it comes across their radar, they will learn about it, and if it doesn't, then they just don't think to look at it, or they don't know what to look for, so they just wouldn't come across it on their own. And so by everyday people putting ourselves out there, we're just making more and more kind of entry points into these topics by being ourselves and just living our lives. That's making these things come across people's radar. It's making them aware of these things existing that they wouldn't otherwise. So that's another reason why I think visibility is important, just because it makes these things, it gives it more of an everyday kind of thing, that it's not something you have to go out of your way to educate yourself on. It's really good if you do that. It's helpful if you do that. And you shouldn't use trans people as an educational source in the sense of badgering them with questions and things like that, especially really personal questions. But if you're able to glean things from their experience, if you're able to understand things from their experience and have a better, just better able to kind of get them and get what it means to be trans, I feel like that's a positive thing. So that's another reason why I talk so much about being trans online, not only on YouTube, but also on Facebook and things like that, because I want to help enlighten or educate people who wouldn't necessarily come across things on their own. Over the last year, for me especially, a lot of what I've done in that vein has been my transition, because I have been medically transitioning for a little over a year now. I started testosterone last March, and I took it for a little while and then went off of it for a little while, and now I'm back on it. But in that interim period where I was not on it, during that period was when I had top surgery. So pretty much for the whole last year, I've been transitioning and documenting my transition and sharing that with other people. And so that's been a big part of my last year as far as visibility, has been sharing my transition, which has been a really interesting experience, because it's been a lot of really personal things and a lot of personal body things, and showing parts of my body like my chest, which I previously was not at all comfortable showing people. And so it's been really interesting to become more comfortable with myself and my body and talking about those things. The response that I've gotten to all of that has been overwhelmingly positive, not only in terms of supporting me, which has been really awesome, and I'm very, very grateful for that, because not everyone has that kind of support. And it's been really awesome for me to be able to have that as I'm transitioning, to help me kind of feel more secure and more safe in talking about this stuff and in being out and being visible as a trans person. But also, sort of on the other side of that, I've gotten a lot of comments and messages from people thanking me for making videos, for being open about this stuff, for talking about this stuff. And that's made me feel really good, obviously, kind of as just like an ego booster kind of thing, feeling like I'm doing something that's good. But it's also kind of just cemented more in me how vital visibility is and how important it is for me personally, like how it's something that I value a lot, to talk about things and to be vulnerable myself in order to connect with other people and in order to help other people. And it's not something that's always easy for me, not just because it's really personal and so I feel like it's not something I want to share. It's not so much that. I really don't mind talking about pretty much any of this stuff. But I worry more about what other people will think, or like how they'll react, if people will think I'm sharing too much information, or if I'm like making other people uncomfortable or anything like that. That's definitely not what I want. So it is sometimes something I have to kind of try to balance. But when I get these kinds of messages, it really kind of affirms me and what I'm doing here, and makes me feel like whatever kind of fears I have to work through, or I don't know, like awkwardness I have to work through, or whatever, to talk about this stuff, it's worth it, because I know that it is helping people. And so I really appreciate all those kind of messages that I've gotten from people. It really, really helps me. It helps make me feel good, obviously, but it also kind of keeps me going doing this, so I really appreciate that. As I said, not everyone has the kind of support that I've been very fortunate enough to have. So not everybody is able to be visible, and additionally, not everyone wants to be visible, and that's fine. Everybody has their own levels of comfort and different aspects of safety or security that they need to kind of keep in mind that are obviously priorities. So while I do think it's vital and important for visibility to be a thing that people are doing and adding to and contributing to as much as possible, it doesn't mean that all trans people are obligated to contribute to it. Not all trans people need to be out or visible or whatever. That's totally fine. But for me personally, it has been a really great experience and has allowed me to feel like I'm making a positive impact somewhere and that I'm helping people, which is a really great feeling. So thank you to everyone out there who has helped make it such a positive experience for me and helped make me feel like part of a community. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my future content and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.